and the Center for Development Policy and Practice. We are indeed honored to have Mr. Ved Arya with us today. Uh, Ved, who's very well known in the development sector for a very long time, is someone who most of us know. Comes with an IIT Kanpur, IIM Ahmedabad education background, but that is only the beginning of a career that took him across multilateral organizations, government bodies, and his own passion, which was to develop a number of social organizations, a number of CSOs, which have worked in various areas of livelihood and in poverty alleviation. Some of them that most of you know are Srijan, which we founded and handheld till it became a very large organization. He now has set up a very novel Buddha fellowship program, which, as the name itself suggests, is a very grassroots, deep dive into development issues, and it has been, in its short life, it has been one of the most fabulous fellowship programs that we have in the country right now. Ved is also more than all of this. Ved is a dear friend to most of us, and someone who we run to for advice, for help, and in recent times, very often to perk us up when we are facing when we are in bad moods and in dismal times. There is someone you can go to and cry on his shoulder, and he have something to tell you, which makes you believe that yes, one has to live to fight another day. Given that extensive background across organizations and across various sectors, Ved therefore has an insight into the financing of social sector that is now about 4 decades old. He has seen it progress from small voluntary groups getting together to large organizations coming in, the government coming in big way, the corporate sector joining in, the foreign funding, with all its ramifications. Therefore, we thought that we would go to Ved to talk to us about these few aspects of philanthropy, where he looks at it from the window of the giver, but more importantly also from the perspective of the one who receives that money, and the recipient being big and small. And therefore, we have this presentation that we will make now. Thanks to all of you who have joined. I know that you're regulars at this forum, where you understand the purpose behind our doing this, which is to understand philanthropy in India, set it in its context, and then be able to explain what the challenges are, so that we are, at the end of the day, hopefully influencing some policy with regard to foreign and domestic funding. With CDPP in this, our partner is Plus Trust, and Lalita is here. Lalita, I'll just invite you for a quick word on why you are with us and why you want to do this, and then over to it.
Thank you, Amir, and thank you, Ved, for joining this. It's a real pleasure to connect again after, I think, quite a gap. I think last time I met, it was at that book release in Delhi sometime back, 5 years ago. Yeah. So what brings me here to this group is our interest in seeing how money can flow to small and early initiatives, especially at the grassroots level. And I was wanting to research this topic, keeping in view both the giver and the receiver, and what builds trust and what strengthens the relationship. And that is when we got an opportunity to share our concept note with Amir. And we found that we were, thinking along the same lines, and this has been a wonderful collaboration that we have got into. My purpose is how to better create understanding, because I think as times go by, the importance of grassroots level change makers is going to increase. We need more and more people on the ground doing things which are important for the community they're in, and it's only then that all of us can move forward. And this cannot be done only from outside. So that's my broad purpose in being here.
Thank you.
We Plus Trust runs a fellowship program for women, rural women, and that's been an enjoyable and fulfilling process for us. And we want to grow the programs. Over to you, Ved.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Lalita. Ved, as the agenda stands, we hand over the mic to you now for the next 40 minutes and then come back with some questions. And with your permission, we are recording this session.
Thank you. Thank you, Amir, for inviting me. And thank you, Lalita, for, I think, sharing my interest in small organizations and fellowships. It's very interesting. And first, I will talk about why the topic is important to me. Having worked in Pradhan, when I quit Pradhan 1997, I set up Srijan and I sent a proposal to Tata Trust. And lo and behold, I find Daman Singh in my office, Manmohan Singh's daughter. And she looks up and down at me and rejects the proposal. So when you start small, rejection is part of the story, right? Part of your life. And then I built up Srijan, undaunted by such early failures. And if I meet Daman, I will tell her that you did the right thing. So I became tougher, and maybe writing new proposals and maybe write proposals. And then again, when I stepped down from Srijan 3 years ago, I started this Buddha Fellowship program. So now once again, I am in touch with the people who are struggling for funds. So it's a full circle again, and it's interesting, therefore, that I get this opportunity to talk about experiences of the recalling my own personal experience, as well as the experience of the people who are in the young age now becoming entrepreneurs, and how easy or difficult it is, even though we say that we are a country of entrepreneurs. And we have a huge startup program in the country with the national ministry also. But how people struggle. But yet, let me start by sharing my screen and talk about what I want to talk about. The topic is rather provocative, and many of my friends have said this is divisive. It is divisive. I told Apurva, given Amir, you can imagine that it will be divisive. But therefore, what I'm going to do is to see this issue of small NGOs from two perspectives. Once you adopt two sets of lenses, maybe the issue becomes clearer, and it lead to, as you want, Lalita, to better understanding. Not only from the giver and the taker, but also from large and small organizations' perspectives, as the topic is suggested. So maybe that would be interesting for the listeners, for all of you. And maybe I will be so I'm very keen to gain from your experiences through question and answer session. I hope I don't go on for 40 minutes. As the time is allotted, I might finish earlier. So RCRC I will come to. This is one other avatar that I'm wearing this topi of 65 or now almost 80 organizations that we have brought together. I happen to be the convener. So this presentation is not just personally from me, but from RCRC. In every society, I think what you were alluding to, Lalita, that and also Amir, that if you want, human nature is to be creative. So I think we hear these, we call them slogans. Let thousand flowers bloom. Let there be opportunities for young people, for old people, for anybody to, if he wants to bring about change in his neighborhood, so be it. We all love David versus Goliath story. Whether there's a Djokovic on one and other side and Bartaneni on the other. We love to see a match between the champion and the challenger. We love to see that somebody else comes up against Trump or somebody comes up against Modi. This is, I think, again a fight. Again, we have inherited, I think, from our history, that we want either a wrestling match, or we want a boxing match, or we want whatever that happens between the bull and the human being. We love to see those jalakattus of our blood boils, then it's a good thing. So we want a fight. So there is always this desire in human nature that yes, somebody is established as a champion, somebody is established as a large organization. Why not bring small organizations? It is there also in the donors. What I want to say is that it's not that donors don't want to go out and help David as against a well-established Goliath. Also, there is this philosophy in the Ashoka Fellowship Program that everyone can be a change maker. And if you mean 11, but once I was writing this book or editing this book, which I talk about often, she said everybody's story is good story. You don't have to say that this is a good story, this is a bad story. So everyone is a change maker. So there is a huge human potential in innovation. Then why this is an issue? Why we are posing this as an issue, despite all this basic making of human civilization, why this is an issue? So the issue is because of this, for example. So most recently this happened, and it's obviously we had a huge debate, even in Aspire Group, that once somebody gives $2.7 billion, so can my friends here can say who are the people in India who got it and who misses out? So I think there is the resource scarcity in such a situation. If money is given, some get it and some don't. And that creates a competition on the one hand, or the bad blood on the other. So I'm just seeing this as the most recent example of the Pradhans of this world, Give India of this world, or Goons of this world. They got it. What about the rest? So some people have reacted pretty badly to this. Also sent me messages that who controls the organizations, large organizations and NGOs and donors. So there is another philosophy, another theory, elite capture of organizations on both sides, the donor side as well as, which I'm not going to dwell much on, but this is an issue also. What I'm going to talk more about is this a big issue? Is this a critical issue? And what are the practices of the government and the donors? Mostly about financial resources, but something how it affects the human resources, capacities of the small organizations also to hire high quality human resources, because you teach in ISB, and whether these guys will join the NGO or not, and why they don't join, and what we are doing in RCRC, and what could be the way forward. You guys can stop me at any time. I'm not revealing anything, new secrets, no patents, but yet in case you want to ask me something. Perspective one, the world is not fair to small organizations. If you apply for FCRA, I'm told, this is coming from a Buddha fellow who is forced to set up a not-for-profit organization also. He says, when you apply for FCRA, 20 to 30 lakh rupees expenditure you must be showing in one financial year. So what government policies are also Are they discriminatory against small organizations? Another thing, if you go to donors, then some foundation I am not going to name says we'll give you minimum 1 crore. That 1 crore which we give also should be less than 25% of the turnover, which means you must have a turnover of 4 crores. That means you're out. If you're a small organization, you are out from the competition. You can't even apply. You're not even eligible for applying to such a donor. So I'm giving a hint or I'm alluding to the policies of the donors, policies of the government. They are decidedly against small organizations. Again, we say 1,000 flowers bloom, everybody can do things, we should be allowing young people to innovate. But what about these entry barriers? So then if you do some data analysis, and I'm thankful to Bridge Span team of Shashank and Ms. Anushka Siddiqui, and also my friends in GuideStar. And I'm quoting this data, that if you say what is the proportion of small organizations in the sector, 85%. 85% of the organizations had less than 5 crore as a turnover. Half of them actually had less than 1 crore as a turnover. And therefore, you can't get to 1 crore easily. Ask any ISB student, ask any IIT student, ask how much time it will take for them to actually attain, and who will fund them till then? How many fellowships are there to promote small or young people as a not-for-profit entrepreneur or for-profit entrepreneur? Ask Manoj of Social Alpha, ask Bill Grove. You will find that this is a pervasive phenomena, if not pernicious. If you look at the other side, the funding pattern of the top donors, this is again, I'm quoting from Bridgespan study, only 5% is going to small organizations. They are top donors. I'm not care to ask who he considers or they consider as a top donor. But those having less than 1 crore, only 5% of the funds are going to them. 5% of the number is them. And even if you have 1 to 10 crore, even if you have 1 to 10 crore, which is a sizable operation, and Ibtidas of this world come in 1 to 10 crores. Some of you may know Ibtida, very well established. Of course, I was disclosed that I was a founding chairman. So but Rajesh Singh has done a marvelous job of educating Muslim girls on the one hand, and federations and several things that he has in Alwar district. But even they also will come in 65% of the total organization. And 30% of the funding is going to organizations that are large, who have turnover of 10 crore or more, Sijan or FES, or this is the Behemoths. This is what we call Behemoths. Even if 10 crore is not a big deal, but in relative terms, 30% of the organizations are receiving money. But to be fair to the donor, still they are caring for those who are 1 to 10 crores. So this is in this slide, therefore, I am trying to paint a picture black deliberately, but also since I'm giving data, it is out there for all of you to see that it is not only an impression, actually it is supported by evidence. Now,